What if every era of music history could be defined by one figure who encapsulates the mood, the fashion, and the collective heartbeat of millions? What if, in this generation, that figure is Kim Taehyung, the man who the world knows as V from BTS, but who is increasingly stepping into his own realm as more than just an aim in a band, more than a celebrity, more than an idol? The story of Taehyung is not a simple rise to fame. It is an unfolding legend, and to witness it in real time is to feel the electricity of history in motion. If you've made it this far, if your curiosity is still burning, then keep reading, comment your thoughts, like this piece, and subscribe. Because the deeper we go, the more you will realize why his spell is impossible to break. Every generation believes it has seen the greatest star, the one who redefines the boundaries of performance and culture. Elvis in the 1950s, Michael Jackson in the 1980s, Beyoncé in the 2000s. Names that carry not only artistic achievement, but also cultural revolutions. Today, Kim Taehyung is standing in that lineage, not by imitation but by evolution. He is the artist of the 2020s, a figure who blends tradition and innovation, East and West, individuality and universality. And if you think that comparison is exaggerated, look at the evidence around you. Sold-out concerts where his solo moments make the crowd roar louder than thunder. Luxury fashion houses competing for his presence. Fans waiting through nights just to catch a glimpse of him at airports. And entire digital platforms bending under the weight of his trends. Yet, Taehyung is not merely adored for what he shows on the surface. His artistry runs deeper, like a current beneath the ocean. Watch him in interviews, and you'll notice how carefully he chooses his words, how he balances wit with thoughtfulness. He has the charm of someone who knows he could dazzle with ease, yet he holds back just enough to keep you intrigued, to make you lean in closer. That balance between revelation and mystery is the secret that keeps the world on edge, always waiting for what he will do next. In music, his solo projects have carved out a space that is uniquely his own. While BTS as a group has always been about synergy and collective energy, Taehyung's solo artistry is intimate, almost secretive, as though he is writing letters that only the listener is meant to open. His songs, either they lean into soulful ballads, jazzy undertones, or experimental fusions, carry the imprint of his heart. You can hear it in the subtle tremble of his voice when he sings about longing, in the warm texture when he sings of comfort, in the almost unspoken ache when he leans into vulnerability. Music becomes more than melody in his hands. It becomes a shared experience, a confession, an invitation. And still, music alone does not explain his reach. Fashion has become another stage for him, and he dominates it with the same ease he shows on a concert platform. The paradox of Taehyung's style is that it is both carefully curated and entirely natural. He can wear an oversized blazer with nonchalance, and suddenly the world decides that blazers are back in style. He can walk through an airport in a loose-knit sweater, and within days, replicas flood online markets. This is not just influence, it is domination. Fashion magazines call him a muse, designers call him a visionary, and fans call him a king. Yet, in every candid photo, every unscripted moment, he carries it with humility, as if unaware of the empires rising behind him. But let us not forget the emotional engine that drives all of this is connection with the people who love him. Unlike many celebrities who maintain distance, Taehyung has always bridged the gap between stage and audience. He looks into cameras as though they are windows into souls. He sends small but meaningful messages that fans replay for days. He laughs in ways that feel unguarded, reminding everyone that beneath the superstar is a young man who still finds joy in the simple moments. That intimacy is the rarest form of stardom, for it is not built on perfection but on honesty. And honesty, in a world of polished illusions, is the most irresistible form of beauty. What, then, is the legacy he is building? Perhaps the real surprise is that it cannot be confined to one label. Taehyung is a singer, but he's not only a singer. He's a fashion icon, but not merely a model. He's an actor, a muse, a symbol of a cultural shift. Yet he defies being boxed into any single category. He is, in essence, a living narrative, a story that unfolds in real time, a legend that fans will recount to future generations with awe. I was there, they will say. I saw Taehyung when he reigned over music, fashion, and hearts, and just like that, his myth grows. What makes this even more astonishing is his humility. He does not flaunt his power, nor does he weaponize his fame. Instead, he carries it lightly, almost as though he is unaware of how much the world bends to his presence. But the world knows. The world feels it every time his name lights up trending lists, every time his photo shoots break the internet, every time his voice echoes across stadiums and through headphones. The world knows, and it cannot look away. So here we stand in 2025, not at the end of Taehyung's journey, but at its most thrilling beginning. The boy from Daegu who once dreamed of singing to the world is now the man who holds the world in his hands. And as fans, as witnesses, we are not just watching, we are participating in a moment of history that will be studied, remembered, and celebrated long after the lights of this era fade. The truth is, Taehyung has become more than an idol, more than a performer, more than even the definition of a superstar. He is now a mirror reflecting the desires, emotions, and dreams of an entire generation. Look closely at how fans interact with him, and you'll see it. Every sigh, every smile, every fleeting glance from him feels like a message delivered directly to the soul. Entire online communities orbit around his aura, creating art, poetry, videos, and tributes not just out of admiration, but out of a need to give back something of the love they feel he has given them. Few figures in history have commanded such devotion. Elvis sparked frenzy, the Beatles ignited mania. But Taehyung has built something different, something deeper, softer, more enduring. His connection with people is not rooted in hysteria, but in intimacy. It is the illusion that he is both untouchable and within reach, that he is both universal and yours alone. The industries surrounding him have already caught on. Fashion is one of the clearest examples. In Paris, Milan, and Seoul, whispers of his name ignite anticipation before he even arrives. Designers measure their success not in sales, but in whether Taehyung has worn their creation. Magazines plan their features around his schedule, knowing that a single cover with his face guarantees not only sales but cultural relevance. He doesn't walk into a room, he changes its atmosphere. He doesn't wear a jacket, he transforms it into an artifact. And while other stars often chase fashion, fashion now chases him. Isn't that the mark of someone who transcends trend and becomes timeless? And then there is his voice. To speak of it once is not enough, because its power cannot be confined to a single description. When Taehyung sings, time feels suspended. His tone is rich enough to carry the weight of sorrow, tender enough to cradle the softest romance, deep enough to send chills, light enough to comfort. Imagine a single note unfolding like a ribbon, wrapping around you, tightening and loosening as if it knows exactly where your wounds lie. That is the experience of listening to him. And it is not just fans who feel this, critics, musicians, even casual listeners who stumble upon his music find themselves captured. His songs are not simply heard, they are lived. Yet, if we reduce him only to music and fashion, we still miss the full picture. Taehyung is also shaping the cultural identity of a generation. In a world increasingly fractured by difference, he embodies a form of unity. Fans from every corner of the globe, from Jakarta to Paris, from Cairo to New York, gather under his name. Different languages, different cultures, different struggles, all erased when they scream his lyrics in unison. He's not merely a Korean artist. He has become a citizen of the world, a symbol of shared humanity wrapped in music, beauty, and sincerity. Who else can claim such a power? And then, in the quiet moments, when he laughed shyly, when he fumbles with words in an interview, when he shares a picture of his dog or a simple coffee cup on Instagram, the world melts. That is the paradox of Taehyung. The man who stands like a king on stage also exists as the boy next door in private glimpses. That duality is not a mask, it is his truth. And it is why people do not simply admire him, but love him. What is most thrilling, however, is that his story is still unfolding. We're not looking at the conclusion of a career, but the rising middle of a saga. He has not yet released all the music he dreams of, has not yet explored all the creative landscapes waiting for him, has not yet fully tested the boundaries of his power. Imagine what it will be when he acts again, when he directs, when he composes, when he designs. Imagine what it will mean when the boy who already controls fashion and music decides to conquer film, art, or philanthropy. Doesn't the possibility itself feel explosive? Perhaps the greatest twist is that despite all this, Taehyung remains deeply human. He has spoken of his doubts, his vulnerabilities, his moments of fear, and in those confessions, his power multiplies. Because fans recognize themselves in him. He is proof that greatness is not about being flawless, it is about carrying your flaws with grace, about turning insecurities into bridges, about transforming ordinary feelings into extraordinary art. That lesson, more than his music or his fashion, is what makes him unforgettable. So here we stand, once more, on the edge of anticipation. The world waits for his next project, his next step, his next smile. And the waiting itself has become a ritual, a shared heartbeat across continents. Will his next song break records? Certainly. Will his next appearance break the internet? Without doubt. But beyond the numbers, beyond the headlines, lies something more eternal. The sense that we are living through the rise of a legend, whose story will outlast us all. What if, years from now, children ask their parents, who was Kim and those parents, with a smile of nostalgia, will say, he was the one who ruled music, fashion, and hearts. He was the one who made us believe in beauty again. That is not fantasy, it is inevitability. And if you are reading this now, you are not just witnessing it, you are part of it. So don't let the story slip by unnoticed. Comment your favorite moment of Taehyung below. Share this with someone who needs to feel his magic. And subscribe to follow this journey. Because we are not simply following a star, we are watching history being written in real time. And trust me, you will want to say you were there when Kim Taehyung ruled not only the stage, not only the runway, but the very heart of the world.